Hey kids, Walter Community College here, coming back at you with another video. Today we'll be talking about psychedelic use and a specific kind of psychedelic user that I have seen. I myself have never taken psychedelics unless you count getting really high on altnoids, but other than that, not really have taken anything. But I do listen to a lot of trip reports, and I've noticed certain behavioral patterns with certain people that use them. And these patterns tend to be for the negative. They tend to be very, very, very egotistical. And I'm not necessarily sure what causes this in these people, but I have some theories. And I'm unsure specifically because I've never had psychedelics. I really don't know what it's like. This pattern of ego really doesn't affect people in smaller doses who don't take psychedelics on a frequent basis. This mostly affects people who seem to be addicted to psychedelics, which is a very rare thing to happen, but it does happen. People do get addicted to psychedelics. It's not as bad as other drugs, but it does cause this ego problem, and it causes a really big God complex. Now, if you listen to trip reports, you'll notice this. You'll notice that people will tend to get really into their heads about the things they are feeling and the things they are seeing. And it's just so unreal. It is just so beyond our reality that they believe they are above our reality. They'll believe they've met God, or they met some force that isn't really God, and they'll believe that they have surpassed and usurped the sum of all human knowledge. And it's just completely asinine because they haven't, really. When you ask these people about about philosophy, about the world, about humanity, they really don't have that much to offer you, because all they really did was experience chemicals in their brain that caused them to feel something that is completely unreal in a way, but it is still localized entirely in their brain, and they believe they've experienced something entirely spiritual. All other human religions, they're wrong about everything. No, this this retard from Europe who decides to spend all his time getting high on shrooms and LSD and fucking random chemicals. Yeah, he figured out everything. He knows everything, guys. This guy, he knows everything. And they always say similar things. And it's very interesting how this happens. I think it simply happens because these people are inherently egotistical. And with psychedelics in smaller doses, usually they humble you. But at some point, you become humbled to the point where you just believe you're a lot more humble than anyone else. And then that just circles back into being egotistical and prideful. They believe that their ego has completely melted. They've completely achieved nirvana or some bullshit. And that they have really surpassed. And they always specify, they always talk about how what they see is beyond human religion or human philosophy, and what humans have already discovered. Plato, Aristotle, nah, those guys don't know what they're talking about. You see, they didn't actually take a heroic dose of LSD, so they have no idea what they're talking about. I really hope people are getting what I'm saying. I'm not really phrasing it in a good way. I'm kind of just yapping. But I hope you understand what I mean. If you listen to trip reports, and if you've experienced this yourself, psychedelics, and you've met psychedelic users, a lot of them can become really egotistical about it. Now, that is a pretty bad thing, because you're kind of reversing the benefits of these drugs, what little benefits there are. I do believe there's health benefits to psychedelics more so than any other drugs that are typically used recreationally. There's a lot of evidence behind psilocybin, LSD. Ketamine isn't really a psychedelic, but kind of. I wouldn't know. I've never had ketamine, but you'll notice, even just listening to the trip reports, that these people develop God complexes. Sometimes it's pretty temporary. like it only lasts for the duration for the trip, but other times it really does seem like it does like leach into their sober life. And I'd assume that happens more so when these people become addicted to psychedelics. They're constantly trying to trip, escape reality. They're believing they're above reality. And that might just be it. It might be that these people are just addicted to escaping reality. And so to cope with that, to justify it, they'll just believe they're above reality. But yeah, I just find it particularly annoying when I'm listening to a trip report of some guy taking a variety of substances, like very like mixing psychedelics or something, or just a really high dosage, and they start completely reversing and going back into their ego and just becoming very egotistical about it. And they'll start talking about how they know more than every religion in the world combined. You know, thousands and thousands of years of human thought and development. No, that's nothing. That's nothing compared to taking some shrooms. I'm kind of repeating myself here. I thought I had more to say about this topic, but I will revisit this in the future once I'm more experienced, once I talk to more people. Maybe I'll experience psychedelics myself. Who knows? I don't know. But we'll see in the future. I will have more to say about this because I do find it to be an interesting topic. I find these things to be interesting. The human mind is a very interesting thing. And I find that people who do these things to be kind of interesting and see why it causes this. And just to go deeper to see what is really going on. But that's about it. A little bit of a shorter video today. That's about it. See ya.